everybody. Welcome
Hey guys,
to the fourth act.
welcome to the fourth act. It's been so long.
So, it has been a little bit, but
Oh, okay. Shh.
Remember.
But it's right. For sure. Yeah. I already started off wrong.
No, it's fine. So this is an episode out of time. You might have heard the first one of these, or you might not have heard the first one of these. Who knows?
Who fucking knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
We like to have fun here.
We do. We like to have a lot of fun here. So, in the spirit of episodes out of time, I want to talk about a random subject. And I actually want to start today's subject by sort of peeling back the curtain on a comment that was made on an episode. On an episode.
I feel like I'm getting James Gunn.
So...
I feel like I'm getting James Gunn. What did I say? What? What's going?
No, you didn't say anything.
Oh,
it was actually James
who
revealed this information.
What did he say?
So in the episode where we discuss Endgame, oh so long ago,
right?
James was like, "Oh, we have a friend who didn't like the ending of Captain America's arc."
I don't know who that is.
And I'm going to reveal that I am that friend. Hi everybody, I'm Marley, and I didn't like the way they ended Captain America's story.
Way to fucking out yourself, Marley. Way to go. Way to out yourself and become a target to the entire internet.
The comments can roast me however they like.
Here we go.
I don't care.
All right.
I didn't like the way it ended, and we can talk about it.
Let's, because the audience already knows my thoughts. Very long ago.
But I don't remember your thoughts. So, so refresh us.
Bitch, me neither.
Refresh us.
I guess for the most part, from what I can remember, really long story short, because that's one of our longer episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that is. That's one of our longer episodes.
Yeah. Long story short, I basically thought Endgame was really good, really enjoyed it. It was super emotional, but it was kind of like a concert. It was, everyone was screaming, everyone was yelling, because it's like, the culmination of 10 years of build-up. The Marvel movies kind of deserve it, but, I'm sorry, the music is very distracting. But I felt that Infinity War was better for over... Well, no, actually, no. I thought that this improved over Infinity War because I felt the pacing was better. Because I felt Infinity War was very quick. It was very quick, and this movie was very long, so that was probably it. Anyways, that was basically it. What about what did you think of the film? Before we get to the controversy.
Okay, so I actually enjoyed Endgame. I cried.
Sure.
Several times.
Yes, definitely.
Because how can you not? I was definitely a part of the screaming.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The moment they were like, Avengers Assemble, I was like,
I think the whole theater just imploded.
It was as it deserved.
Yeah, it deserved that moment. I can say that Endgame deserved that moment, definitely.
Yeah, it definitely deserved that moment. I agree with you that the pacing for Endgame was definitely better than Infinity War's pacing.
Yeah.
Infinity War, everything was happening so fast.
Yeah.
And when it ended, I was like, excuse me?
Excuse them. Yeah, I think everyone was, because it's like, how could they do that? We know they're coming back in the next movie, but still, like, how the fuck could they do? You don't end the movie that way. That should be against the law.
So a little like behind the scenes into my personal life. I went to see that movie.
Intimate.
On a date. That movie on a date.
That is not a date movie. That is not a date movie. What?
And the whole time,
Did not know.
the guy I was with was like holding me, like he had his arms wrapped around me, and he was like, "I've already seen it. I am bringing you to see it because I need to watch your reactions."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, "You are such a fucking asshole." But I because I can't contain my reactions. I'm a very expressive person.
God.
I'm a very expressive person.
Yeah, I mean,
And
if someone tells me I didn't cry when Black Widow died, you're a liar.
you're a fucking liar. That's just the way it is.
Eyes out, so.
Oh, we're not gonna talk about the trailer, please.
Oh no, that's that's another podcast. We'll talk about that later. You'll do that
Maybe.
later. Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. So yeah, so I definitely like
yeah.
Infinity War ended, and then I was like, I have to wait a year. Oh my god! And then I got to sit down and watch Endgame, and I genuinely got to like enjoy all of it, cry throughout.
Yeah.
Fucking the love of my life, Tony Stark dies, and I just spent the rest of the movie crying.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually, that's only ever happened to me once before, and it was when I was watching Les Mis. When I was watching Les Mis,
and
the
Hickman died.
And fucking Gavroche died.
Oh.
After Gavroche's death.
Yeah, that's
I spent the rest of it crying. I spent the rest of the movie crying.
Gavroche dies, literally anything happens, tears ensue. And the rest of the film. That's fair, honestly. That's fucking fair. For me, it was Fantine. When Anne Hathaway dies, that's always the.
Oh, fucking.
That's always the,
Yeah, because it's especially understandable because we just left a really emotional moment with her.
Yeah, really emotional moment. And God, like Anne Hathaway can sing, she can dance, she can act. Okay, Anne Hathaway, shit. You can stop. You can stop now.
No, never stop. So.
Endgame. Back to Endgame.
Segue into my controversial opinion, which is that.
Oh boy.
I think that not only were they unfaithful to Captain America's character, I think that they themselves kind of forgot their own established rules within the same movie.
We're gonna talk about time travel.
And it doesn't make sense.
Oh boy, we're gonna talk about the time travel.
Of course, we're gonna talk. Let me rein it back in.
Let me prepare myself.
Let me prepare. Back in. Because I was about to do that thing, that thing I do when I clap and I yell at you.
I know. I know what you do.
I'm like,
I legit had a fight about this the other day, actually, at college. I was just minding my own goddamn business, and I heard these two guys talking about the time travel rules, and because I can't contain myself, I just went like, I couldn't help but listening to what you guys are saying, and actually, and I just cut in that conversation, and I think they hate me now.
I don't think they hate you now. I just think they think you're very strange.
Probably. Doctor Strange is my favorite Marvel movie, after all.
Fuck yeah.
But why do you think it's unfaithful to Captain America's character, though? I haven't heard that.
Okay, so...
Here we go. You have been mulling this over, I can tell.
I have. I've been waiting for this conversation for so long.
This is the only reason you started the podcast. This is the only reason. Just wanted to get this out there. I see what you're plotting.
Okay, so
clever.
The reason I think it's unfaithful to Captain America's character and to who Steve is that the person that they established Steve to be, especially from Winter Soldier onward, isn't really reflected in this ending. Because okay, so Marvel, the rules of time travel as established by this movie say that if you go back and you change something, you are no longer in the same time stream. We are no longer in the main line. We have diverted. And yes, everything that happened beforehand must happen for you to actually be able to go back and create an alternate time branch. Yes, I understand. But here's the thing.
Right.
At the end of this movie, Steve goes back and they imply that he went back to live a life with Peggy. And that's already a change in the timeline. Because Peggy marries some other dude and they live happily ever after.
Right.
But this...
Yeah, and then she dies and we see her in Winter Soldier.
Yeah, in the hospital.
There's any implication that she remembers Steve because we spent our lives together or anything like that.
We don't get to see that. She still like talks to him like it's her first time seeing him after he fell.
He came. Yeah.
Right. So that's one thing. But also, like, if he went back in time to live his life with Peggy, does that mean that he left Bucky in the hands of Hydra? That's
because I'm keep going.
Because that's if he went back in time and all he did was stay with Peggy and he didn't free Bucky from Hydra or anything like that, then this is supposed to be the same Steve that betrayed everybody, his teammates.
Could he save Bucky from Hydra, Joe? Because if he saved Bucky from Hydra, then Winter Soldier wouldn't happen.
But he's already in an alternate time branch.
Well, I guess.
Isn't that...
That's true.
He's already in an alternate time branch. What they're implying is that, oh no, this is the same time branch, even though the super serum is supposed to have slowed down his aging, so there's no way that the Steve Rogers that's there only spent a lifetime with Peggy Carter. And you're telling me that Steve Rogers went back in time to be with his girl, broke up her either engagement or marriage, and didn't save his best friend
Bucky.
The reason
allegedly.
he imploded SHIELD and Hydra, the reason the Avengers went to shit, like the reason he didn't even bother to read the Accords. He left Bucky, and he had the information. You can't be like, oh, could he have saved Bucky? Yes, he could have, because he knew where all the Hydra bases were. He had this information. So you're telling me that this is the guy that you've been setting up for, like, when was Winter Soldier? Like 6 years ago?
2014.
2014. So it's 5 years ago.
Look at that. Yeah, almost 6.
Almost 6 years ago.
Oh my god. Almost 6 years old. What
God.
the fuck?
So, like, I'm sorry, I don't think this ending is very faithful to the character of Steve Rogers, but also the time travel. The rules you established don't make any sense.
All right, here's. I'm gonna try and defend this. Hold on. Here's my first point.
Okay.
James, what do you think? Oh fuck! This is usually when I turn to James because I've run out of ideas, and this is when I turn to him.
Nope.
Because he usually hasn't. Fuck.
Nope. Nope. It's just you and me, baby boy.
I am going to agree and disagree with you at the same time.
That's perfectly understandable.
Because I agree with you that it doesn't make sense, but only because he should have ended up with Bucky. Boom. That's my big statement. That is my argument. He should have ended up with Bucky. That's all I've got to say about that.
Their relationship.
Am I wrong,
You're
though?
not wrong.
Am I wrong, though? Like,
you're not.
They had... you saw Civil War.
I did.
You saw Civil War. There's this one moment where Bucky and Cap are on a ship and they're heading to the final boss. And the ship is coming down, and they look at, and they give each other this look, and Cap pats Bucky, and I'm like, there is no
heterosexual.
There's some homosexuality going on.
There's no heterosexual explanation.
No
for
heterosexual explanation. There isn't. This is top tier Supergirl levels of queer baiting. This is Supergirl levels of queer baiting.
It's true.
It's true, though.
So true.
And also, I don't care if this makes me sound problematic. I don't give a shit. Get ready. Bucky should have been the new Captain America. There, I said it.
Understandable. It is...
come on.
That I understand.
Like, I wouldn't mind if Falcon was Captain America, if we liked Falcon.
He's not a very likable character.
It's not that he's unlikable or whatever. It's just that he's like Falcon could die, and I wouldn't like. Oh no, Falcon.
He's had. Here's the problem. He has had no real character development.
He really hasn't. I liked him in Winter Soldier, and that was kind of it.
But that was the only time where he had some level of character development.
Yeah, because that was his character intro. Yeah, basically. You're right. No, that's true. And at least, here's my argument against Infinity War. Now. Here's my argument against Infinity War. Thanos said that he's gonna snap, and it's like I'm not gonna apply something to it's gonna be completely random, and since it's 50-50, it's gonna be fair. But then when he snaps his fingers, Falcon gets Thanos away, but we kept War Machine. How is that fair? How is that fucking fair? Who gives a I'm sorry, who gives a shit about War Machine?
Oh god, no.
I want Falcon back.
Nobody.
I want Falcon
back. And here's the thing that really frustrates me about that. In the first Iron Man movie, Rhodey is an interesting character.
Yeah, maybe because he's a different actor.
I mean, ooh, listen.
You didn't think about that. You didn't think about that.
Arguments about this because I don't know.
Really?
Yes, because I don't think John Cheadle was the correct choice. I think that if they had really stuck with Terrence Howard, he would have made these movies different.
Ooh, controversial.
Controversial opinion. Listen.
Why did they recast anyway? I legit don't know.
My understanding of the situation is that Terrence Howard was like, these movies are kind of really famous and also setting up for something really, really big, and I kind of would prefer it if you paid me a little bit more. And
he played the Robert Downey Jr. card.
And they were like, nah, it's fine. You're just the black best friend. We can replace you.
Ooh. And they did. Is the thing. And they did. Yikes. Marvel. Yikes.
And they did to someone who was so different. I actually hadn't known about the recasting. And I ended up watching the movies back to back. And I'm like, oh great. And when I turned on Iron Man 2, it was like, excuse me, who the fuck are you?
Okay, see, that, oh my god, that didn't happen to me. But I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna try and explain when did Iron Man 2 come out? My dumb 15-year-old mindset at the time. It's when they recast War Machine, I didn't fucking notice. But it's not because of what you think.
Okay.
Everyone's already typing on their keyboards, you
Fuck you,
racist
yeah.
prick. No, it's not because of that. It is because that's how little I cared for War
That's
Machine.
perfectly understandable. They did it.
That is because it's like, he's there.
He's there, and the thing is that this is the problem with trying to tell a very complex story in a movie, is that sometimes it's hard to really convey something that's important. And I think that that's why Terrence Howard really worked, because he, in his body language, managed to portray a closeness to Tony that you could immediately clock him as like, oh, you're the best friend.
Right. Okay, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
That just doesn't happen with Don Cheadle, because Don Cheadle he played Rhodey a little more laid back, a little, but also like a little tighter strung. So there's not that much like, there's not that kind of body language, that kind of closeness.
Like that level of intimacy between them is kind of lessened.
Yeah, it's missing a little bit, and it doesn't. If you think about it, missing that level of intimacy doesn't really make sense, because canonically, Rhodey and Tony have known each other since MIT.
Yeah, that's true. Known each other for a very long time.
Very long time.
I mean, shit, Miley, I'm not gonna lie, you're raising a lot of good points that I'm like, is Endgame trash? Is Endgame actually trash? I don't know, Don Cheadle's in it, time travel doesn't make, I don't know, man.
It's not that it's trash, it's that I think that the writers wanted to wrap everything up in neat little bows, and they forgot that the plot was a thing that impeded that. So here's my alternate theory as to what exactly is happening.
Boy.
Right?
There's more.
I was like, that doesn't make sense. So I'm going to make my own canon about what's happening here, because that shit don't make no fucking sense. So I've come to the conclusion that Steve went back in time and he danced with Peggy, and then he went far, far into the future. Like far.
Went far into the future?
Went far into the future. Because here's my idea.
Okay. Is this before or after he returned the Infinity Stones to their proper place?
After he returned the Infinity Stones to the proper place, right. So it's implied that he puts them all back and then he goes to dance with Peggy.
Right.
Acceptable. So here's what I think happened. I think he danced with Peggy. I think they had that moment because it was the closure that they both needed. Even though we've spent like 4 movies where he hasn't so much as said the words Peggy Carter, but you know, that's, we're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. No, we're not going to talk about that at all.
We're going to talk about that. So, and then he goes far into the future, and he just lives his life. He genuinely does live a life, and then when it's time, he goes back to leave the shield, like when he's already old and gray. Because one of the things that doesn't really make any sense is that if he supposedly does go off to live with Peggy and have a life with her and all that stuff, pichándola todo lo demás, vamos a decir que esa es la cosa que establecieron, and the two of them just lived a life together. Why did he leave her in an asylum if he was still alive? And why is he so old when he shows up to Endgame? Because the super serum is supposed to slow down his aging. We know this for a fact because he doesn't look like he has aged a day since he got out of the ice. And that's a very purposeful choice. They've chosen to keep him looking young. Even the 2012 version of himself that he fought, they look the same. He doesn't look like war-worn or time-worn. they look the same.
Yeah.
So he hasn't aged in 7 years. Seven, and then
Right.
5 more.
I
It's like 12 years.
12 years. Yeah, he looked
He
exactly the
looks
same.
exactly the same. So he hasn't aged. That is what they are establishing. These are purposeful choices made with makeup and CGI.
I feel like I should have seen Endgame. I feel like you should have warned me before because I'm coming up with blanks. I'm coming up with blanks here. I'm like, oh no, this movie's trash, and I had to talk with Marley to realize it.
Here's the thing: I haven't rewatched the movie.
Well, now you can with Disney Plus, not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but it's true. No, I haven't rewatched the movie. These are just things that I thought about afterwards, and they've stayed with me because it's not that they take away from the movie or anything else. It's that from a lore perspective, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And if you are going to be so bitchy about the lore being what it is and things being unchanged or whatever, then you should be the first one to be like, hey, this is the lore, so these are all the things that we can't do. You can't just wrap everything up in a neat little bow because the actors' contracts are over. That's not fair to the fans, and that's not fair to the actors.
I mean, you raise a lot of good points, but you know what I feel, though? I feel like everything kind of has an explanation, because ever since the movie came out, and especially ever since it was released on Disney Plus, there have been so much stuff on the internet of like, oh, this deleted scene explains this, or oh, this interview with the directors, they explained this part. And I'm like, if it's so essential, why wasn't it in the movie?
If these things are so important, then why aren't they in the movie? You can't just...
I was reading an article about that. I was reading an article about this, and it is such an essential detail that I'm like, what the fuck? That the Russo brothers, the directors of Endgame and Infinity War and the last two Captain America movies, they were talking about, when someone dies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there is no bringing them back. There's no way.
Oh.
And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? You killed half of the fucking cast. You killed half of existence in Infinity War. But apparently in the Avengers Endgame art book or some bullshit like that, it says that the word that they describe to, the word they use to describe what Thanos did at the end of the Infinity War, they don't use the word kill. They use the word blip.
Yes, they use the word blip.
Like Thanos blipped them out of existence, and this is somehow referenced in Homecoming, if I believe I'm not mistaken.
This is referenced in Far From Home.
Yeah, Far From Home. I said Homecoming. Yeah. In Far From Home, this is referenced. So I'm like, okay, so they didn't die somehow. If that's why isn't that detail in the film?
Because fuck me. I don't know.
Because it's like the Game of Thrones writers. God, I'm so sorry. These minisodes can't get away. These minisodes can't get away, even in the minisodes. But it's like the Game of Thrones writers saying, "Oh, Drogon." At the end of the series, Drogon picked up Dany's body and took her to X or took her to Y. And I'm like, if it's such an important detail that you're talking about it, why wasn't in the episodes? Why weren't there a lot of things in those episodes? But we're not going to talk about that.
No.
And we'll be here all fucking night.
We're going to be here all night. But see, that's the thing.
And
they do reference the blip in Homecoming. Now you got me saying it.
I'm sorry. In Infinity War.
In Far From Home.
Oh, in Far From Home. I thought you were talking about the actual blip, like the act of the blip.
They reference it. They tell... the movie starts... I don't know if you've actually watched Far From Home.
I did watch it.
So
I enjoyed it.
So you know that in the beginning, it starts with this amazing, like, Windows Media Player edited fucking thing.
About everyone, like, oh my god, what?
Everyone who died. And they call it the blip.
Everyone who blipped. Everyone who blipped.
And they call it, like, the newscasters are like, it's been a year since everyone blipped out of existence or whatever, or it's been 5 years, whatever. They like reference the amount of time and
Right.
so that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, that's kind of a funny way to talk about it. You know, what kind of crazy
Mm-hmm.
dumb shit like these kids came up with. But no, it turns out
Mm-hmm.
that was a Russo's idea. And I'm like, why would you call it that? Why would you call it
I
that?
guess that Thanos snap does not equate to death. So what does it equate to? Is my issue.
They like faded out of existence, quote unquote.
Is it? I mean, a lot of people would argue that that is what death is. Listen, I don't want to get philosophical here. I don't want to get philosophical
No.
here, but you see, it's these
It's
conversations.
it's a
It's these
fucking thing.
conversations that the Russo brothers evoke. This is the problem. This conversation right here is the issue. Russo brothers, why are you like
Why
this?
are you like this?
Game of Thrones writers, why are you like
And
this?
here's
Why?
the
Why? Why do you
here's the
keep
thing
hurting me?
that I
Uh-huh.
don't understand. This movie's
Sure.
already 3 hours and 5 minutes long. Why
Yeah.
are there deleted scenes?
Yeah. Why are the like the movie's already long as shit? Just put everything
Just put
in.
everything in. There is no reason.
Put fucking everything in.
There's no reason to have deleted scenes in a movie that's 3 hours and 5 minutes long. Just put all the fucking things in the movie. If you made the movie 4 hours long, we are going to go in, sit down, and watch 4 hours of Endgame. Like, there is no...
I agree. I'm looking at you, Lord of the Rings. Hashtag Christopher Lee got done dirty. Hashtag Sir Christopher Lee. Hashtag RIP.
Yeah, so like, you know, you want to hand me like 4 hours of Endgame? Bitch, I'm gonna sit down.
Let's go.
Watch 4 hours of Endgame.
Yes.
Don't we do Harry Potter movie marathons? Isn't that a thing that we
like
do?
literally almost every weekend according to ABC Family? Yes, correct. And that's with commercials, so they're even longer.
They're even longer because
the fuck.
You know, we already binge watch a bunch of movies and TV series. You think that we're not gonna sit here for 4 hours to watch Endgame? You are incorrect. We will watch it.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny. It's funny that you bring up Harry Potter though, because I thought about Harry Potter like when they were first explaining time travel and all that shit, and I'm like, huh, that's a pretty cool. Like, it isn't your basic. It isn't your basic Back to the Future rules where you go back in time, you change something, you change the whole timeline, blah, yada yada yada. But with J.K. Rowling, she studied like quantum mechanics and science and shit, and her time travel rules are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I love the time travel in Harry Potter. But now that we're talking about this, your argument, which is a valid argument, mind you, it is a very valid argument, is that your argument this movie went from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child real fucking quick in like a span of 3 hours. And I don't like that. That is your argument, basically, in Harry Potter words.
I mean, it's just the ending, because the rest of the movie is fine. It's just the ending. The rest of the movie is fine. There are things that I'm like, okay, you don't have to set up the TV shows that hard. Like when they have Loki take away the Tesseract. Like, you don't have to set up the TV show that hard. Come on, bro. Like, calmate.
You know, I'm so worried about that because
Have you seen
MCU...
the logo? Have you seen the logo for Loki?
Yeah.
Oh, it's garbage.
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage.
Yeah. But that worries me even more because the MCU execs say that if you want to get the whole picture of Phase 4, you have to see the Disney Plus shows. And that really bothered me. Because there used to be TV shows before. Yeah. Like, fine, there used to be TV shows, but you didn't have to see them. Especially Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one that was most tied to the movies. But you didn't have to see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get the movie.
It's actually the episodes that tie into the Winter Soldier are really, really interesting in the way that they tie to the Winter Soldier. But then afterwards, the show carries on, and these two objects don't interact.
There it is.
And that's perfectly fine.
There it is.
But the thing that frustrates me, it's like, for example, WandaVision.
Yeah, here we go. Don't even get me started with WandaVision.
So the Fahey, who is fucking in love with Wanda Maximoff. I am so.
I mean, sure.
He was like, oh,
Uh-huh.
the events of Doctor Strange are
Yeah.
going to tie into WandaVision, and that is why
Yeah.
Wanda is going to be in this movie. But
Yeah.
that's fucking unnecessary.
That bothers.
Why can't
Yeah,
he
it
have
bothers
his
me.
own fucking movie? Like, no.
I mean, well, that's true. I agree with that, but it also bothers me that if you Wanda, I really like Wanda's character. I love her. She's great. But my issue is that if you apparently, according to Marvel, if you want to get the whole picture of Wanda's story arc for Doctor Strange 2, you have to see WandaVision.
And it doesn't look good.
I have to see it, but even if it's good, bad, that's not my issue. It's that I have to see. You're asking me to do homework, Marvel.
Basically.
You're asking me to do homework,
Basically.
and that's I hate movies that do that out of necessity.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Oh, there's a movie series. Oh, but there's more stuff. There's like a comic. There's like a game. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Fine. Multimedia is fine, but not when it's obligatory.
Yeah.
Not when you have to research all that stuff. I don't want to get into it, but Final Fantasy 15 had the exact same issue, but that's a whole other conversation.
Wow, that's a huge conversation.
Whole other conversation.
But yeah, I think that.
But then I have to rewatch Endgame and take everything you said into consideration because now I feel like I'm gonna hate it. Thank you.
I'm not sorry.
I feel like
I was telling Rosanna actually, like I love ruining movies for other people because having it's not just the fact that I'm kind of ruining the movie for you. It's that now you're gonna look at this movie and you're gonna see it from another perspective.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we look at things with kind of like these rose-tinted glasses of the first time we watched them, right?
Yeah.
So the first time we watch it, think, oh, it's so perfect, it's so fantastic, and we don't really take a step back to look at them in a different perspective. And that's what I enjoy about ruining movies for other people, because I know that after we're done, you're going to go home and you're going to think about what I said, and you're going to watch the movie.
No, but you see, but in my defense, though, my rose-tinted glasses were nowhere near as bad as the people I saw it with. I had a group of friends I went to see it with, and I was there. I was like, this it was so fucking cool. The ending, I yelled, no joke. Just I came out with a sore throat out of Endgame. I'm not gonna sugarcoat.
What a mood!
I'm not gonna fucking. Yeah, it fucking is. But then a bunch of my friends, the first time I went to see it, a bunch of my friends were like, "Well, guys, this movie's getting the Oscar," and I'm like, "Hold up,
wait,
hold up,
hold up, hang on."
And one of these people may or may not have been in the podcast before. I don't want to point fingers.
Ooh, you and I.
But one of these people may or may not have been in the podcast.
Ooh, we are going to talk about that later.
And they were all like, "Oh, this movie, it deserves the best Oscar for Best Picture, whatever." And I'm like, "What timeline am I in? Did the timeline really change?"
The stupidest timeline.
Where am I? Like I had rose tinted glasses in like I was all in for the epicness.
Right, absolutely.
But for everyone saying that, oh, this movie's the best movie of 2019, no. It's I'm sorry if this sounds pretentious. Yes. I feel like I'm being a dick, but it's still a comic book movie in 2019.
It's still a comic book. Absolutely, 100% agreed. Yeah. This is the year of The Lighthouse, Little Women.
Yeah.
You can't be like, oh, Endgame is the best movie of 2019.
No. Definitely calm down. I have a list of all the movies I've seen in 2019.
Wow.
And I have a list over there. Maybe we can discuss it in an episode. Yes. Maybe when we do the top 10 episodes of 2019.
Oh, episode. We might. Yeah.
But we might do that. But will Endgame be in my top 10? Doubts.